Hey everybody, Prepper Nurse 1 here. Today's the 30th of April, and as you can see, nice skies today. So, want to do a video today, and so here was my thought on this. What does S.H.T.F mean to you? What do you think about when you hear the term S.H.T.F, okay? So I want to talk about that a little bit. And it's funny because it may not actually be what you think. Now, a lot of people, when they hear S.H.T.F, they're thinking worst case scenario. Oh my God, end of the world event as we know it. It's hit the fan and that's the end of it. Okay? Which is obviously a good term, and an aspect of it is that's why people use the term S.H.T.F. But it could also mean different things. It could mean something local to you, a local disaster. That could be an S.H.T.F situation to you, because if there's a flood or a fire, earthquake, mudslide, whatever it is, that is an S.H.T.F situation to you. If it affects you directly, in a very bad way, you lose your home to a fire, whatever, all these different things. There's a lot of different possibilities that could be an S.H.T.F situation to you. It could also be something to the effect that you've lost a job. That can be devastating. That's an S.H.T.F situation. You lose a loved one. It's you and your husband, and you're going along and life is going great, and your spouse passes away. That can be an S.H.T.F situation. So there's a lot of things that could be, that situation. Like I said, you've lost a job that you had, and man, all of a sudden your world is turned upside down. And so these are different terminologies for S.H.T.F. So how does this correlate with prepping? Well, here's the thing. If you prep and one of these emergencies happen to you, something that happens to you individually, there's a wind blowing. I'll show you what's the flag up here. I gotta get the other flags out too. I'll get them out. Actually, I might do it today. I don't know yet. But anyway, so with prepping, how does this correlate with prepping? So we're going to talk about that real quick too. With prepping, it's not just for that worst case scenario. You prep, I personally prep for whatever, because you never know what's going to happen. If you lose a job and you're not able to, obviously bring in that money that you were bringing in before, and you have food stores back, and you have gasoline back, and other things in preparation for whatever, well then now you're ready to deal with that situation, and it gives you that buffer. That's one of the main reasons why I think a lot of people should be prepping, is because you need to be ready for whatever's coming down the pipe. And so with doing that, it puts you in a situation where you're better able to handle anything. And then obviously if it is a major S.H.T.F situation that it affects like almost everyone, then you're ready for that as well. And here's the thing with prepping and doing everything that people like myself and other people do, it is all about peace of mind. It's not about gloom and doom. A lot of people think, they call it porn or fear porn, gloom and doom and stuff like that. It's not about that at all. Prepping is about peace of mind. It's about putting yourself in a situation where you're comfortable and you can sleep better at night, and you're not worried like, oh my God, what are we going to do if? What are we going to do if this happens or that happens? So that's what prepping is all about for me. After Katrina happened down in New Orleans, I looked at that and I said, oh my God, the government didn't go in there right away and help these people. And don't get me wrong, now first of all, if I'm living in a bowl and there is, a Category 5 hurricane coming, and they tell me to get out, I'm getting out. Okay, that's number one. I wouldn't stay, but you know that people make their own choices of why they do what they do. But a lot of people stayed, and then they were basically left high and dry for a good long period of time. I mean, everybody knows the history of that, okay? And then when the government did go in there, the first thing they did was disarm everybody. So that was nice. But you know, the thing is, after that event happened, I looked at myself and I said, if something happens, how am I going to take care of my kids? And realistically, I think for a lot of us that do prep, I think that's the main focus is family. You know, for me, it was my focus was my kids. Like, oh my God, if something happens, how am I going to be able to take care of my kids? And then, you know, once I really got going with it and got started, and then it kind of just snowballed from there. And I actually always wanted to live off grid, to be as independent as I possibly can be. So I started trying to make that happen as well. And obviously now, almost 2 years later, you know, here we are. But you know, that's you know, that's a fun part of it for me. And so anyway, like I said, the biggest thing is there's a lot of different reasons to prep. There's a lot of different things for S.H.T.F. Okay, and everybody's different. Everybody does it for whatever reasons that they do it. But I think a lot of people, you know, they do it for comfort. It's a comfort level, and I know with prepping and being in a position where I feel more comfortable, it makes me sleep better at night. Now I'm going to go off track here for a minute, and I'm going to show you over here is finally completely dry. All that rain that we had, it took a good week or better because we had so much. And that, as you can see, is a low area right through here. And that was definitely staying wet in that area. It was holding that water. So now that is definitely taken care of. Just in time for more rain. So the forecast is talking about rain coming up quite a bit here over the next several days, but we'll see what happens. So anyway, guys, you know, like I said, the focus of prepping and why people prep and the terminology of S.H.T.F, it can be so different and so vast with, you know, 10 different people that you ask, you know, and it's just like the whole thing, why are you prepping? You know, people will say to me all the time, well, why do you prep? And I tell them all the time, I prep for whatever. You know, I mean, it could be any number of events that happen that could affect us, you know, locally. It could affect us as a nation. You know, it could affect the world. I mean, if one of these super volcanoes go off, and I'm not just talking about Yellowstone, there are so many around the world. If one of those babies go off, that's a life changer, guys, and that's a life changer for the world. So, you know, there's a lot of different things that could happen, and I just, you know, my philosophy is always prepare for the worst and hope for the best. And I think I just spit on the camera. Hold on, I did. Sorry. You know, like I said, it's prepare for the worst and hope for the best. I personally don't have a lot of faith in mankind because I know what we like to do to each other. I've seen a lot of things in my life, and you know, it's just I don't know, there's a lot of good people out there, okay? I will say that, number one. There's a lot of really good people out there. And then there's a lot of really not so good people out there. So you need to put yourself in a situation where you can be as safe as possible, where, you know, you're not going to... Living in fear is not the way to live. I mean, if you're in a situation where you live in fear, what is that? I'm going to give you a quick story on something like that. I had a girlfriend, this is going way, way back when I was in my 20s. And I was living in the city, and I lived in a certain part of the city, and she lived in another part of the city. Well, she was walking out to her car one day, and she had 3 individuals approach her, and they said to her, "You need to move. This is our neighborhood." And she looked at them and she was like, "What?" They said, "If you stay in this neighborhood, we're going to kill you." So she moved. I mean, to live in like that, why? And first of all, why would one group of people do that to somebody else, I have no idea. But it's just an example of what happens. You know, people just, people are insane. I mean, we live in a society now where people don't give a crap about people. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of good people out there. A lot of good people. Hey, buddy. Yeah. There's a lot of good people out there, but there's still a lot of bad people, too. And we live in a society now that I call the entitlement generation, that they believe that they're entitled to everything. Everything hurts their feelings, words and pictures and flags and everything else, which is completely ridiculous. And if they just didn't listen to the media and actually use some free thinking thought, then they could make their own decisions on what's offensive and what's not offensive. But that's a whole nother video. But anyway, guys, like I said, I'm trying not to make people afraid. I'm trying to make people aware. And so when I do my videos, I'm trying to make you guys think, trying to make you realize something in my mouth, I'm sorry. Trying to make you guys realize that if something happens, that it's not going to be pretty. And to be ready as best that you can be for that event. And like I said, for anybody that's a newbie prepper, get started. Anything you do now gives you an advantage over most of the people in this country. So that's a good thing. If you just woke up and said, oh my God, I'm way behind, don't live in fear. Just do what you can do. Be methodical about it, and before you know it, you're going to have a lot of stuff, okay? And like I said, for me, it's about that advantage. I know, I hear you. I had a hair in my mouth. Ugh. Anyway, so guys, listen. I am going to jump off of here. It is absolutely beautiful outside. It's cooler, but it's nice. So I hope everybody has a great day. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend. It is Sunday, so what? Yes, I see you. Hi. So it's Sunday. Remember, guys, hug and kiss the ones you love. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. We never know what's going to happen. Tell them every day. It is so important because you just never know. And remember, guys, it's STD. It's one step at a time, one thing at a time, one day at a time. Don't live in fear. Be prepared. Be ready for whatever's coming. A lot of us feel that there is something coming. It's a gut feeling. So, take that as fear-mongering or take that as just intuition. But like I said, for me, it's about peace of mind. And that's what it's about. So have a great day, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.